Hey everyone. Are religious people barred from engaging in politics? Can individual priests, nuns, or imams endorse a candidate? These are questions that stoke intense emotion and passion, especially now that it's the heat of the election season. So, for the next 5 minutes, let us quickly unpack this age old tension between the church and the state. Let us first begin with our Constitution. Article 2, Section 6 of the 1987 Constitution tells us that the separation of church and state shall be inviolable. But what does this mean? No? Does this mean that in the Philippines, the state is absolutely prohibited from interfering with church affairs or vice versa? Now, to answer this question, and I think to appreciate the entire discussion, we must first visit the reason why we have this separation concept in the first place. This idea comes from our long shared human experience of suffering, no suffering coming from the experience of states or governments establishing and forcing a particular religion or belief system upon its people and punishing those who do not subscribe to that religion. So in short, no, if the state does this, it would assume control, it would hijack an individual's conscience or beliefs. Diba? So we don't want that. Now, to prevent that from happening, this separation of church and state emerged. And this has become a bedrock of constitutional democracy. So what is this trying to say? No? In other words, what we're trying to say here is that the separation of church and state, and ito ang pinaka-importante, is it is established not to prohibit the church from exercising its participation in state affairs. It is there to actually prohibit the state. Okay? So the separation of church and state is there to prohibit the state from doing two things. Right? And these two things are to establish a state religion and to interfere in the expression of that religion. So in the law, we call them the non-establishment clause and the free exercise clause. Non-establishment clause means government should, not establish a religion, sponsor a religion. Free exercise clause means the government should not interfere with your expression of that religion, of that belief. So now going back to the question, can a church or a priest speak out on social issues? Can priests, nuns, imams as individuals endorse a candidate? In the eyes of the law, ladies and gentlemen, it is a resounding yes. They can. Bakit? Because they are citizens of the Republic of the Philippines and they still possess their right to free speech, right? So the state cannot interfere with that expression because, again, of the free exercise clause. Moreover, you have to look into the mission of the church to better comprehend that idea. For example, the Catholic Church, it's called to build the kingdom of God here on earth. And don't you think for us to build that kingdom, one is required to stand up for certain values, for certain things, such as perhaps living wage, better healthcare system, better environmental protection policies, right? Honest elections, truth, solidarity, justice. These are values, right, that the church wants to uphold. So when a priest or imam speaks on these matters and supports candidates, who push for better laws, represent these values, this is not a violation of the church and state. As a matter of fact, this is a courageous exercise of that person's right to free speech and also a fulfillment of their church's mission. So the next time you stumble upon a news article seeing candidates being endorsed by religious groups or priests or leaders, do not say that they should stay away from politics because it's a violation of this separation of church and state. That is a wrong interpretation. Again, that is a wrong interpretation because they can do that as citizens. The better question, I think, is why do you think these religious leaders endorsed them? What values do these religious leaders represent? And ultimately, I think it should ask us, what is this endorsement telling us? And this might lead to a deeper and meaningful discussion on the issues that are actually worthy of our time and attention. Thank you so much.